Good afternoon, everyone. This is T3 Live Editor-in-Chief John Darsie here to bring you the daily recap, and I'd like to welcome Mike Lee onto the show today.
Thank you.
Mike is a mentor in the T3 Live Trade the Open mentoring room. If you haven't gotten the memo, Mike Lee and Steve LeVay were previously mentors in the Momentum mentoring room, but they've rebranded their room, decided to call it Trade the Open because we all decided that was a better description of what they do. Mike, welcome to today's show. You want to talk a little bit more about that decision to change it to explicitly Trade the Open?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm very excited to speak to everyone here. First off, Trade the Open. I've been trading for 13 years, and over the years you figure out what your strengths are. And I go by, researching my business, going through numbers and noticing that I'm making most of my money from 9:30 to 11:30. And then I'm thinking to myself, if I'm churning away or just trading tickets in the afternoon, why should I trade the afternoon? And I really have thought about this business in two ways. I don't get paid by the hour. I get paid to trade good patterns and focus on my strengths. And that's how I really became a Trade the Open trader. And when I talk about Trade the Open, I'm talking 9:30 to 11. 9:30 to 11:30. It's a 2-hour business for me.
What do you think, before the show we were talking about how even increasingly the market has evolved to the point that you prefer trading the open now even more so than you did maybe 5 years ago. What do you think about how the market's evolution has dictated your strategy?
Yeah, I mean, everyone talks about machines and less volume. So what I'm looking at is where the volume is, where are most traders trading, humans, and where do you get that most follow through? And I find that early in the day. Look, there are going to be occasions when you get that trade from 12 to 1 and 2 to 4, but I am talking about a stat, and I am looking at myself as a business, and I am making almost 100% of my money early in the day.
And one thing, we posted an article this afternoon from Mike on T3Live.com, the homepage. You were talking about the need to be prepared. In trading, you obviously, no matter your strategy, you want to be prepared, but when you're trading the open, you really have to be diligent about making sure you're prepared right off the opening bell, or else, it's a Trade the Open strategy after all. So if you're not ready for the opening bell, you're not going to be ready for anything.
When I go to sleep at night, the one thing I love the most about my profession is I'm flat overnight. So the macro market doesn't affect me too much. I'm coming in with a clear head emotionally and also financially. So when I get up in the morning and I have a good, consistent, comfortable way of trading, okay? I have a plan, and when I know what stocks I'm going to look at in the morning, it makes my job that much easier. And how do I come up with that plan? I could give you a couple little tips now. We are doing a webinar on Thursday in the afternoon, but I'm going to give you guys probably the most important thing, and it's about confidence.
And one of the things you guys did when you rebranded your rooms, you started coming out every morning with a Trade the Open watch list, which Scott Redler comes out with his price point sheet, his morning note. That's the way he prepares for the trading day, and he shares with our community what he's looking at. You and Steve started coming out with the Trade the Open watch list, which is a collection of the stocks that you guys are going to be looking to trade during that day. You want to explain a little bit about what the watch list is and what exactly it is you look for when you're looking for what stocks you're going to trade that day?
Okay, so I'm speaking for myself and Steve and Trade the Open. We are focusing on stocks in play. Now, everyone asks me, how do you find stocks in play? There are hundreds of stocks, thousands of stocks out there in the universe, okay? What I'm looking at is range, previous day range, technical patterns on daily charts, catalysts, okay? So when I talk about catalysts, talking about earning play potentially, talking about a 52-week high setup, a low setup, wedges, bear flags, bull flags.
Recent IPOs, one of the things.
Exactly. Recent IPOs have been hot. So I'm breaking my stock universe into about 4 sections. Exactly what you just said. IPOs, stocks I'm comfortable with, and when stocks I'm comfortable with, I talk about the printers. I'm talking about the Chinese stocks right now. We'll get into a little of them in a second with the charts, but I am very confident. So tomorrow's trade, and yes, there's a Fed, so the Fed might change the way the afternoon trade is. It also could affect the morning macro trade, but I as a trader am only focusing on good technical patterns with micro setups, stock setups. So the market itself, everyone say, oh, we're making all-time highs. Doesn't mean Facebook can't be a long short intraday or you know, a fade. It's not about the macro market for me.
Yeah, all right. Well, let's go ahead and get into the meat of this daily recap and talk about some charts, some symbols. You talked about the 3D printers. That's a sector that's obviously been very hot. There's been a lot of headlines in the group with upgrades and downgrades and secondary offerings and new technology and stuff like that. Take a look at the chart of XO&E, and this is one that obviously recently has been an absolute dog. What have you been looking for? It's been on your watch list every single morning, I think, for the past month or so. What is about this chart that has you looking at XO&E?
Okay, so XO&E gives me two ideas. One, it gives me a very good range, and two, it's a sector that's hot. Now, if you compare XO&E to DDD's chart real quick, this obviously is a weak stock. DDD had a big up move recently, holding upper end range on the daily, and XO&E is consistently getting hit. Now, for traders who are looking for a bounce, you have to be extremely disciplined. This is not a take-home right now. This is a stock that is really getting hurt. Look at the down move. Could this stock go to 40? It could go to 35. I don't have any clue where it's going to go, and I really don't even care. What I care about is figuring out yesterday's high and low, okay, or today's high and low, and I'm going to come in tomorrow with strict guide points. These are guidelines for me. So what I do is, and I'll use XO&E as an example, I look at yesterday's or today's high and low for tomorrow's trade, okay? I have the opening range. I have a range on a 5-minute bar initially when the market opens. From 9:30 to 9:35, okay, gives me my opening range. And I am going to take those bullet points, those guidelines, to make my trade for tomorrow. If it breaks below today's low, maybe I will look for a reversal, but I'm only looking for reversals if it sets up on a bullish pattern, okay? I know Scott always talks about the red dog reversal, 80-20. X1 could be a very good candidate tomorrow if it gaps down below today's low and look for a trade through. That's an idea. So all of a sudden, John, I am coming in with an idea tomorrow for Trade the Open. And that's how I'm setting up my game plan.
One of the things you talked about in that article this afternoon is that if you're going to be trading during the most volatile period of the market when, you know, bids and offers are flying around and stocks are whipping around, risk has to be your number one priority with a Trade the Open strategy.
Absolutely. No matter what trade you get into, and this goes for any trade, swing, short term, you know, long term, whatever the case is, you have to have an out. Okay, never enter a trade without a stop. Trading the open can be very hairy at times and also could be very profitable. What you have to understand is understanding spreads, understanding your risk, understanding how high beta a stock can be, understanding at 9:32 you don't even have a 5-minute bar in. So all these factors can control or hurt your business. So when I talk to traders, if I suggested you a trade tomorrow, I would wait for XO&E, wait for the 5-minute bar to set in. You have your high, you have your low, you have yesterday's low, and see what happens, see what develops. But just to jump right in saying XO&E is down so much or your neighbor is buying it doesn't give me any confidence, guys. I am a very confident trader because I have my plan. I'm a disciplined trader with an idea tomorrow in a stock. And I will come up with 7, 10, maybe 12 ideas for tomorrow and execute them. If an A list, a B list, a C list, if they don't execute, I'm not just going to jump in what Scott's saying or what John's saying or Steve's saying. It has to be part of my plan.
Another group of stocks, we're going to talk about individual stocks that have been on your watch list almost every morning for the past few weeks. The Chinese internet stocks have been very much in play. And I know Qihu is an example of one that you guys had on this morning. You're looking for, similar to what you were looking for in XO&E that didn't really play out, but was an 80-20 type of trade. This is a chart of Qihu we have up here. Explain what you guys were looking for and what the result was today.
Yeah, Qihu is a stock that we know it's pulled in. It's had a nice pull in. And we had yesterday's range. So if you take yesterday's bar and you had the low, and Qihu was below that trade, that level, once it traded back through, it gives me an idea of where to enter. It's not random. Okay, this is not gambling. Traders who are successful 15, 17, 19 out of 20 days, I can't go into a casino and be that successful. but I have a plan in this business, and it has worked. I'm not just speaking to you guys because I don't make any money. This is a great business. It's an unbelievable business, okay? I'm working about 10 hours a week, literally 2 hours.
I can attest to that.
Every
when we
day.
say trade the open, literally this afternoon I look for Mike. He's at the gym. He's riding his bike, puts in his work in the morning. Like he said, he's not doesn't trade by the hour, doesn't get paid by the hour, and that's the trade the open philosophy for Mike and Steve. It's not just it's from two perspectives. You can have more success potentially with a trade the open strategy because you're not grinding away your P&L during quiet times in the market. And there's also lifestyle benefits, as Mike definitely takes advantage of. But moving on to another Chinese internet stock to talk about another symbol, BIDU is another one that's been on your radar. Talk a little bit about that one.
Yeah, BIDU is extremely strong. I mean, you see it's flagging on the daily. I'm sure Scott's speaking about this one. It has a lot of support right around 140, 140.50 area. I'm looking for a trade. Potentially, if it breaks that area, you might see a trade back down to 138, 136 area. But it is... Nothing is telling me bearish right now. And one thing that I find traders doing is fighting the trend a lot right now because they don't believe the market could keep going. A trend is your friend. It sometimes is your friend, and when it breaks, it's not. But the reality is BIDU is still a buy on pullbacks until it breaks that area I'm talking about. But as a trader and someone who's looking to make money, BIDU is in that momentum playground right now. And I talk about that momentum playground. Tesla, Apple, BIDU are 3 high beta stocks that I am concentrating on because they're giving me range.
And there's another one that joined the momentum playground after its most recent earnings report, and that was Facebook. And that's another one that's been listed on your guys' trade the open watch list of late. Take a look at that chart.
Hold on for a second. Let me update my status. Okay. All right. Facebook. Here's the deal with Facebook. Okay. Like John just said, it has been a rock star back on, I think it was the 22nd it reported or whatever that date was. It's been ridiculous, okay? So what we're doing now is buying Facebook on pullbacks. But Facebook, okay, is trading, and I want to show 3 stocks today's chart. Can you pull up today's chart? And I think this could be a new sector. Yeah, 5 minute, not new, but a sector that is trading with each other. Look at Facebook's intraday chart today. Okay, now pull up Pandora, symbol P. Okay, very similar. Now pull up Yelp, Y-E-L-P. And these 3 stocks right now are 3 stocks that are on my list every day. Obviously, Twitter might be coming out this year, maybe early next year, but Facebook, Yelp, and Pandora seem like 3 social media type plays that are trading with each other. All strong. So if you are looking to short maybe a Yelp or a Pandora, wait for weakness in Facebook and study that chart. Right now, the printers are not trading with each other. They are a little more difficult. They're each individual. You saw X1 at lows, DD at highs, SSYS is going flat right now. But the reality is there is a ton of money out there, guys. A ton of it. And be positive and be confident every day.
Well, there you go, Mike. Thanks for joining me. Just a reminder that on Thursday after the close, Mike and Steve, the Trade the Open mentors, are hosting a free webinar. The title is How to Create a Second Business Out of Trading the Open, which will teach you some of their lifestyle points and some of the strategies that they teach in that course. Mike, you want to tell us a little bit more about the webinar?
Yeah, I just want to say one more thing. And everyone says, oh, trade the open, it's scary, and oh my God, I don't want to trade Apple in the morning, so don't trade Apple, right? You don't need to trade Apple in the morning. You don't need to trade BIDU, Netflix, LinkedIn. You could find a stock and look at the opening range. And I want everyone to do a little homework the next few days. Find that 5-minute opening range, okay? See how volatile it is, okay, on paper, but then if you slow down the process and find like a Kihu, which might be a $1.50 range, or an X1 might be a 50-cent range, just study it, okay? You don't have to jump in. This isn't for everyone if you don't have a plan, okay? But it is an incredible way to earn capital and build a business if you're smart at the open.
And you got to treat it like a business, and that's the theme of Thursday's webinar. We hope to see you there Thursday with Mike and Steve. This has been John Darsie, your editor-in-chief here for the Daily Recap. Scott and Brittany will be back here tomorrow morning with the Morning Call.